Hello everyone, what is up? I am Pranav Gaikwad and welcome back to my channel. In today's I Am Talk episode, we have none other than Romit Gandhi, who is an alumni of the University of Texas at Dallas. He is here to share his experience of his master's in supply chain management. Romit, welcome to the fourth episode of I Am Talk. It's a pleasure to have you today.
Hey, thanks, Pranav. Good morning, everyone from Dallas. It's a great pleasure, and I'm really excited to be here. I'm looking forward to all the questions you have, and I'm really looking forward to a great experience with you.
That's wonderful.
Yep, let's kick it off.
Yeah. Okay, to start with, can you give us a brief introduction about yourself?
Awesome, yeah. So, as you know, my name is Romit Gandhi. I did my undergrad in mechanical engineering back in India. I did it from Dharmsy Desai University in Nadia, and I'm born and brought up in Gujarat. Love traveling in India, each state. Love traveling and having food from each states of India. Like, that's the best part about it. We really miss it over here. After my undergrad, I straight came over here to pursue masters in supply chain management. And during my master's, I did two internships. One was at Walgreens and another was at a small scale company based in Dallas. After that, I got a job at Samsung. It was a contract role, and the role was reverse logistic analyst. Finally, I'm working in my dream company, Amazon, and I'm a business analyst for production planning team.
Yeah, wonderful. It's actually a dream of many of our students.
Oh, of course. And I mean, it is achievable. It is definitely achievable.
Right. So how and why did you choose this field, that is the supply chain management?
Yeah, fun story. So I started my undergrad with mechanical engineering, and I saw how was the job perspective in India. Not really great for mechanical engineering. Also, I was always inclined more towards the management, but you know how they say in India, whatever you want to do in life, you first need to do engineering. So that was my first step towards it. Right. After engineering, I wanted to pursue MBA, but most of the MBA degrees needed a lot of experience in order for you to succeed, because the coursework is naturally inclined towards your prior experiences. So I got with a consultant to decide how my career should align, and we saw that based on my prior mechanical engineering experience and industrial experience, and based on what I want to do in the management, a supply chain degree would be a great fit, because it is natural towards what I like, which is communicating management, using the data to my advantage, and communicating with the ground level employees to the senior management team. So bridging that gap and always expediting the process is a part of day-to-day life of a supply chain professional. That's how I started this journey. And before coming to the United States, I also enrolled myself in an MIT MicroMasters program, which was based for supply chain. Like, if anyone is looking forward to join supply chain, want to learn supply chain, this would be the best bet. It's going to be very, very challenging, I would say. It's as good or even better than a master's degree. It's that challenging, but the knowledge you get is amazing. So one tip I would like to give anyone who's coming from an undergrad to directly to the grad school would be to immerse yourself in some experiences, so that 2 years down the line, once you're done after your graduation, you shouldn't be vague, like, hey, I like this or not. You need to have that prior experience. So read about it and grow more yourself into this. Listen to podcasts like this. This might help.
So the what was it?
MicroMasters.
MicroMasters degree that you did. It was for how much duration?
So I believe it's like 3 months, and it's it's just like a Udemy course, an academic course, or Coursera. It's just an online course. They go really deep into the analytics part, the management part. You have to solve problems. You have to submit assignments on the time. So if anyone has like spare time and they want to learn more about supply chain, it can't get better than this, really. I would say that it's the best thing you can get in terms of supply chain resource.
Correct. And what does this supply chain people who have gone through supply chain management, what are they called? Supply chain managers?
So that's okay. Think of it. That is something when you jump the ladder of the managerial position. When you jump up the hierarchy, if you have an experience like myself, I came directly from undergrad, so I didn't have managerial experience under my belt. So the first target would be to aim for analyst role, planner role. 2-3 years down the line, when you can handle team on your own, you go become a supply chain manager, a production planning manager, a procurement manager, logistics manager. All of these come under the belt of supply chain. So they are all under the umbrella of supply chain, but different spectrum of that. So if you have like 2-3 years of experience or more than that in India, there's a good chance you could start as a supply chain manager over here.
Right. So coming down to your college, that is, how did you actually, based on your profile, that is your GRE and TOEFL, what other admits that you have, and why did you choose UTD over them?
Yeah, so I had the first admit was UTD supply chain. I mean, it was really quick. I applied on Wednesday and I got the result by Friday. So
what?
Yeah.
That's so fast.
Yeah, I know. It was pretty great, actually. A really good experience, like Amazon Prime.
What was your GRE? I mean, you must have pretty high.
320.
Yeah, so that's high. That's good.
Thank you. It was. I mean, it's decent. So it's good for UT Dallas, where the median GRE is somewhere like 306, 310. I gave GRE a second time and got an increment of 7 points because I wanted to go for the scholarship. And based on my score, they also offered me a scholarship. So coming back to your question, why did I choose supply chain at UTD? I had other admits from Arizona State University for management of technology, and second admit was from University of Southern California. That was for global supply chain. So the reason I chose this was purely based on money and location. I was getting 50% scholarship for first year, where I even took an additional course so that I could cut my tuition fee by a significant amount. If you're not going into a school like Harvard or the top elite schools, the second category schools would be UT Dallas, Arizona State University, Southern California. So I would say deep down, don't just go for the name of the school. Take all the factors into consideration on how much the cost is going to be, because most students will come with student debt, with a loan, and you really want to choose where is going to be the best value for your money. Also, Dallas is an amazing location. It's growing and growing all the time in terms of jobs. So I would say that was also one of the reasons I got my first job at Samsung, because it was a local job based in Dallas. So of course, the biggest reason was scholarship, and they have a really flexible program in UT Dallas where you can do an internship for straight 1 year, which most colleges do not have that rule. So I would say if you are also in my boat, you can choose UT Dallas.
Right. So you also mentioned that because of your scholarship, you took 4 subjects as your first semester courses. So would you like to tell us more about the coursework? How is it? How many tracks are there? And what number of credits are there?
Yeah, so usually it depends on school to school, but it's 3 credit per course. And I believe the total coursework credits were 36 of the total supply chain course. So I took 4 in the first semester because it's kind of prorated. You have to pay a base amount of fees, for example, insurance and amenities fees. And apart from that, the more number of subjects you take, the lesser your fees will be per subject. So with scholarship, I wanted to take as many subjects as I could, which I could handle, so that after my scholarship would end, I don't need to pay for additional subjects. That way I was able to manage it. And it's not like a rocket science. Many of the students did the same thing. So we had many companions in this journey.
So how many tracks are there in supply chain management?
So they define it by 3 tracks, but it's like really flexible. It's not like that. It's just for your knowledge. So it's going to be retail, analytics, and operations. But and I might be missing on something, but it's just for your knowledge. If you want to have a career if you want to go into Walmart, which is a pure retail company, you might take subjects like operation analytics, retail operations. If you want to go into analytics purely, you could do business analytics with R, with Python, data visualization subjects, statistics. So it's just for a guideline. But honestly, once you are here, most of the people, they will research, they will deep dive more into what they really want and how it aligns to your future goals. And they are just going to pick one from this track, one from this track. It's one of the good things about United States University is that they're very flexible with it. So you get the choice to do whatever you want.
So what would your advice be that the students who are coming, what their subjects should be in the first year?
So there are going to be some prerequisites. So it's always going to be statistics and operations management. Apart from the prerequisite of statistics and operations management would be advanced Excel. It's a tool which is used in almost every industry. I even use it to plan my trips. So I would definitely suggest getting that, because having that, creating your own dashboard, working on your own projects and working in a company, you're every day going to use Excel. Apart from that, I would suggest data is the new cool thing right now. So if you can, definitely go learn some SQL and Tableau. But having that experience, having those projects and having that on your resume helps you a lot. So that will definitely be my guideline. If someone is going to be joining in the first year, these should be the subject they need to at least have a look at.
That's right. So since you mentioned about these subjects, is the curriculum such that a person who is not from a non-technical background, not from a technical background, can switch to this field?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if I had to give a distribution of percentage of people who are in supply chain in our class, I would say at least 50% were from mechanical engineering. After that, 30% were somewhere like CA, who were pursuing CA in India, because they are not a technical field. I'm really sure they are not well versed with Python or SQL and skills like that. But it's very basic. It's very easy, I would say. I would rate my undergrad degree in India more challenging than the supply chain over here. I can't say same for computer science, but it's definitely manageable. So I have many friends who were from the CA, and I believe the final exam was pending, but they were really good in this field as well, because in terms of accounting and many financial subjects, they have an edge over us. Any day they have a great edge over us. And the subjects that we learn are from the base, especially like business analytics with Python or SQL. It's not going to be directly a pro level, so it's not challenging for them to learn that. Of course, it could be slight challenging as compared to someone who is in tech field, but at the end of the day, it's definitely manageable. So I would definitely recommend, and I would say please take up supply chain if you really like it. It's not going to be a bothersome matter for you. It's not going to be heavily technical.
Okay, so are there any certifications that these people can do before joining?
I would say you can pick up any course on Udemy, Coursera, which is like Intro to SQL, Intro to Data Visualization. Hey, if you love colors, you would love Power BI and Tableau, because it's all about playing with colors and playing with some data. Yeah, I would recommend to go check that out. And also, you shouldn't pressurize yourself that much. You have enough time during the masters to learn that. So it's about how you pick the courses. But if you want to know if you're a good fit for this, I would say start with Tableau in India if you're in India and if you're planning to see if you can learn some of the technical stuff. It's not going to be difficult. I promise you that.
How
It doesn't
hectic
matter.
it is. Like,
Doing the masters,
yeah, when you took 4 subjects and you were also doing some certifications along with it, how hectic did it was?
yeah, I would say managing the time is really important over here. So, 4 subjects was definitely a little bit challenging, and I would say if you sit in the class, if you make some good notes, you have won the battle 50%. Like that's like really good. Um, Having courses, you can always do some courses on the weekends because most of the deadline for even assignment submission is going to be the day where your lecture is going to be, and it would be mostly like 11:59 p.m. a prior day or even before your lecture. So that way you have to just manage your time. It's not challenging, I would say. It's not that challenging considering most of the people in India have been through engineering. I would say it's not that much challenging. It's more about how you can adapt from one country to another country, and you waste less time on thinking of the change, but more on doing work. So the rule of thumb is to at least give 3 to 5 hours per week on an online certification or something of that sort, apart from your day-to-day homework. That will help you go a long way. Even though you feel it's a very small, trivial change, it's going to build up that discipline. And then if you like it, you are just always going to learn more than 3 to 5 hours. So just start slow, get eased into the role, and after that it will be easy for you or anyone else in that case.
That's the golden lines that you said right now. So, along with the scholarship, how much did your entire master's degree cost you?
My whole soul, man. Honestly, I guess it was total somewhere like $45,000. I had on-campus job from the second year, so that really helped me. At least from the time I had on-campus job, I didn't take any money from my parents or loan in that sense. Not for paying the fees, but for day-to-day expenses, rent, food, everything like that. So, and I'm 100% sure most of the people who come over here, they will get an on-campus job by at least second year. So, and if you really like to learn what you're learning, you'll and you get a 4 GPA, there's a good chance you'll get scholarship in the second year. Plus, you'll get TA. You'll be a teaching assistant. So you will also get an additional stipend apart from the 50% scholarship, and that definitely should be an aim for students who would be coming here. So 45,000 is a ballpark, I would say, but it keeps on increasing due to the inflation. I would say at least keep $50,000. You could think of, you can think about $50,000. It's not very cheap.
And you said that you didn't take money from your parents after you got this on-campus job. How much did you generally get in that much? So
usually it depends on places to places. Texas, the minimum wage is $7.25 per hour, and usually university is going to give you higher than that. So I had like 8.5 per hour, and I used to get $600 per month. The max you can work is 20 hours being a student.
Per week.
In order to per week, in order to comply with the laws. So nearly $600 I used to get, and my rent and everything used to be somewhere like $500. I was cutting it close, but didn't require too much money after that. So I would say if you think about long term, I would definitely recommend. I know many people, the finance is a huge thing, and it should be, but many people choose to work off campus, which is not legal, and I would definitely recommend against it because it's just short term, while you'll be getting some $300-400, which I feel is important for the short term, but at the same time you won't be able to concentrate on your work like those online courses we're talking about. You really need that time to create a good profile so that you can get a job earlier, and in first month's salary you can earn up to everything you earned during on campus in first 2 months salary. So if you think about long term, it's very, very important not to join any off-campus work. If you have if you have any on-campus work, well and good. Also try to limit your hours to 10 or 15. If I have to plan, I would say go for 10 to 15 hours of on-campus. Don't even use 20 hours. So in the extra 10 hours that you get, you can use it for your online course or even relax a bit. It's really important that you also balance your life in order to run the full marathon. You don't want to overwork yourself.
Very well said. Very well said. So again, what was your experience in finding these internships and jobs?
Yes, definitely. I would love to answer this. So for supply chain and purely for management student, the main rule would be to connect with your alumni, to connect with your peers. That's the thing I realized by the time I was graduating, that the batch ahead of me, they graduated, they had their own share of struggles, and they are the most likely people to refer you because they have seen the struggle up front and really close. So be in really good terms with them, connect on LinkedIn, take them for coffee, learn more from them. That's how networking works in the United States. And I think it's a very healthy way because everybody wants to help each other, because someday that senior who is helping you might be out of a job. He would be laid off and you would be working in another firm, and you would definitely lend a helping hand to them. So everybody wants to help everyone. It's the way you approach it. You can't demand from them like, hey, can you refer me? You need to build that relationship, but definitely once you build that, people are going to help you. Coming to the point, how you get internships and full-time job, the biggest method to get that is to connect with these people and ask them if there's an opening in your company. If they have, and if you have a really good rapport with them, they're going to send your resume not just for referral, but directly to the hiring manager or HR. That way, your profile will get traction and you would be able to get an early access or even an interview. So coming to the point, after you get an interview, I would suggest, even though you are not applying for internships, even though it's very early, I would suggest you to sharpen your axe. You need to be really sharp with your communication skills, the way you present your story. You want to share an experience where you made a change. So definitely learn how the interview process works over here and start preparing for it. At least start communicating better. That way it's going to help you in your interview. These two things are very important in order for you to get an internship or job over here. You could be really great technical wise, but if you're not able to weave a story, it's not going to do you good, especially in a management role. So definitely start with that right away.
Communication is the key.
Yep, absolutely.
So what kind of job roles could one expect after doing supply chain management?
Okay, let me break it down in two parts. So the first part would be people like me who did undergrad in India and straight came over here, who didn't have a lot of experience. So starting with internships, it would be similar for everyone. It would be supply chain analyst internship, supply chain planner internship, logistic analyst internship, supply chain data analyst internship. So what really stands out for you is your master's degree. That's like a portal for you to get that internship. And also the projects that you show on your resume. I mean, you are a young professional. There's a good chance you don't have that much of experience. In that case, show some projects on your resume. The roles you get after you graduate, the most important thing to your answer, to your question would be supply chain analyst for people like me, production planning analyst, logistic analyst, more of the analyst roles, the planner roles. Those are the roles you can target upon. If a person has like 3 years and more experience and they are joining supply chain field in UT Dallas, there's a good chance they would end up as a supply chain manager, program manager, procurement manager. So basically just shift the analyst and put the manager role. That's how it works. These are the umbrellas in which the supply chain industries work. It just depends on what you really like.
So just like you said, there are two before graduating, that is your internship, and after graduating, finding your job. And I would like one question that many of the students would have is when should they start applying for these internships and jobs?
Right. So the law over here is when you start your masters, you need to complete at least 2 semesters. After that, you can start with internship. So if you're going to be joining in August, if you're starting your masters in August, I would recommend that in first 2 months, just ease into what you're doing, have that change, and then improve your resume prior to applying. Improve your resume like crazy. Critic them with many seniors, with your career center in university. We have a really good one. And start applying by September, October. Huge companies like Walmart, Amazon, they have internship programs. They have summer internship programs. So your first bet would be the summer internship program. The smaller companies, they usually do not have that big of a time window, so you can start applying in them from February or March. But yeah, definitely start looking for it since September and October at least.
But Romit, when we start applying for these students are mostly very young into this field. They don't have much knowledge about it. So what are the minimum skill set that they require before joining this internship?
So if you think about it, even if you get internship, you will be joining prior to the summer. So basically, I started in August 2018, and the first internship was in summer 2019. By the time you are done with 2 semesters, and the first semester will have statistics, that is very, very important because you want to know how the numbers work, how the data work. Then there's operations management. If you get any role you get, operations is going to be a huge part of it. How the time study works, which process could be a bottleneck. After that, you will have global supply chain and global logistics. These were the courses which will be filled by the time you go into your supply chain internship in the summer. So it won't be that big of an issue. Also, you are an intern. You are not expected to know everything. What you are expected to know is having a great attitude. You need to have a learning attitude. That's what the hiring managers will look for a perfect candidate. Not always someone with a great skill set, but someone with a great attitude to learn things, to accept the mistake, to just ease into the role, and also to take up new projects. So just having the right mindset will work, and just that desire for knowledge. You don't need to worry. You don't need to feel that you're not set for the role. Don't have that imposter syndrome in you. You are always going to learn that. And trust me when I say this, by the time you go into summer internship, there are going to be a lot of courses which will be already be covered. So you are already better in that terms than most of the employees in the company, because not everyone has a master's degree. So you are already in a great position. So apart from that, every time if you want to have more confidence, I would say keep learning. Keep having those online certifications. One thing I would recommend is Lean Six Sigma if you want to go for operations or process improvement role. In India, I believe KPMG has Lean Six Sigma program. I personally did that, and having that on my resume and talking about it during the interview helped me get my first internship experience. So
wow.
Definitely go for Lean Six Sigma if you're coming for supply chain. You can get it from any company, but having that knowledge is going to help you a lot. Having that certification prior to coming here will help you a lot.
That's great. Amazing. So what is the process of applying for these internships and jobs apart from the referrals?
Yeah, so basically you leverage services, tools like LinkedIn, Glassdoor, Indeed. These portals, you can just search for supply chain internship. If you want to stay near Dallas, there's an option for your location. You can search Dallas. There will be hundreds and thousands of roles, and just go apply to their website. You have to upload your resume, upload your cover letter, fill out a lengthy process like what's your master's degree. Even though most of you have uploaded your resume, they will still ask for all that information. It's a very tiresome process, I would say, but it is the law of the land. You have to go through that. So the rule of thumb would be, again over here, 10 applications per day. even though like whatever you do, at least apply to 10 companies in a day. Even though you might not have the best of the experience, some company, maybe a small startup, maybe a very small company with 5 people, they would like to know that there is an intern who has some experience. He would be joining us an intern. So I would say take your chances. Just keep on applying in these companies, and it's a fairly simple and boring process. But this is how you have to go about it. Definitely use those tools and keep job alerts on an on option. So on LinkedIn, when you search for supply chain analyst intern role, for example, after searching some, there's an option in settings that keep notifications on. For example, you can turn that on for some of your dream companies like Amazon, Walmart, Tesla. So as soon as the role is posted on LinkedIn, you'll get a notification on your phone. And that's how you'll be like, okay, I got to apply to this. And it is said, right? The early bird gets the first worm, something like that. Right. So that would be the go-to process over here.
You also mentioned about the student center. To what extent does the student center help you?
I mean, yeah, hey, you're giving a hell lot of fees. They are going to give you that option. So the student center also conducts workshop where you can fine tune your resume. You can work on your communication skill, give you case studies. And in some sense, if you are really good terms with that, many companies like Walmart, they come to the student center, which they do not announce to people, but a handful of resumes are picked and they have an on-site interview at the same moment. So having good relations with student center is really important. Your whole resume, your communication skill is the gateway to your jobs, and that is fine-tuned, that is improved by these student centers. And the second option which I chose was to always connect with good seniors and good people who are coming in your course. I had really good friends and they had a lot of experience back in India. I've seen people with two mindsets when they come to United States. They were the ones certainly not enjoying the weekends partying, but they were the ones who used to apply late on the late nights. So when I felt like I was moving on the other side, I talked with them. They helped me with my resume. We started applying together. We had late night sessions where we used to apply together as a group. And that's how that's how I built a relation with them. That's how I fine-tuned my resume and my communication skill. So that's a great thing I would suggest. Apart from your career center, leverage your classmates. They are amazing. They are amazing that they're here and they are really good with their experience. It's going to be, they're going to do your world of good if you can communicate, if you can have a great session with them.
Right. So on an average, how many applications do all the students have to apply?
Yeah, it depends on luck, but I would say at least 200, 300, 400. There's not a great number to it. If your resume is really good, if your approach is really good, maybe 100. If your resume is average, but your efforts are great, maybe 300. It depends on many factors, like also the way you convert those interviews. You could be applying to 1,000 companies, but if you're not good with communication skill, it's not going to land you a job. So all these factors, you could multiply it in a weighted average manner, like the way you communicate, the way you apply, the way you network, and this way you can definitely get an early access to internships and roles like that. One thing I would also recommend is to engage on LinkedIn. Throw some content over there. There are many professionals who have open roles. Like for example, even I have openings in my similar role, and I have referred many people. But we need to know who wants to get the job, who wants to take the job. So that's how we can refer. So connect with industrial professionals, and you will get a very early access.
Mm-hmm. So my next question is one that many students would like to know, but hey, we won't judge you on that. But what kind of a salary bracket could one expect in this field?
Yeah, so honestly, if you think about it, you are never going to win over software developers. They are up there with the MBAs, and so first things, you cannot compare your role, your struggle with software developer or the pure tech teams, because it's going to be different ball race, and you are going to get sad. That being said, it's pretty good. I would say so. The ballpark in medium level cities like Dallas, Nashville, Arizona should be around 70 to 90K for an analyst if you are in a good company. If you are on California, Seattle, it should be 100 to 120. That should be the range. If you are a manager, it would be 95K to 110, 120K in even cities like Austin, Nashville. So that should be your ballpark amount. Again, software developer, another ball game. But hey, this is pretty good as compared to other fields as well. And one thing is for sure that you won't get bored in the role. There are going to be more and more challenges, and that will make sure that you don't get burnt out from your day-to-day activities. It's going to be different each time. Also, if you want to earn good, there is a good chance. Two options. You can go for the startups. Most startups are based out of California, and they are going to pay you well. So for that, if you want to go for analyst role, it's very, very important that you have a good hold of SQL, Tableau, even Python if you can. That way you can make sure you get a job not just as a supply chain analyst, but more of a business analyst as well, maybe on the supply chain side. So that is a great thing, a great tip which I would definitely recommend for everyone to follow. If you want to have a good career and if you want to open your opportunities, also go into the tech field, this is how you can go. So you can also bang into that 100K market. But a simple conversion is 100K or 110K in California won't be more than 70K in Nashville or Dallas. So I would suggest when you see the salaries, do not get disheartened if you are working in cities apart from California. Your tax is not the same. So rule of thumb would be to go for 70K and somewhere around that field. Many of my colleagues are working at 60K, 65K, but it's just a matter of time when the next promotion or the next role, they will be able to use that as a base and jump to 70, 75, 80, and then 2-3 years down the line, become a manager, go for that 90K. It's just a matter of time.
Right.
So, yeah.
So, continuing talking about the tips, we talked about the internships, we talked about the jobs after graduation. What would your tips would be to students for finding on-campus jobs?
On-campus job, yeah. So for UT Dallas specifically, hello everyone, I would say go to the dining area. So the catering company that we have, for example, Subway, Domino's. I think we do not have Domino's, but Uncle Sam's on the campus. We also have Chipotle. Go talk to those people. Drop your resume. Build a relation with them. Most of the time, it's not about applying online when you can go and talk with them, because they have a huge vacancy on huge batches many times. So having that knowledge, having connected with the people who work there as an operation manager or a store manager, they would be able to link you up. So first thing you come in Dallas, I would say just go talk with these people. Also check with your career center if they have any opening. Basically any place where there are employees, just talk with them, drop a resume. If not, just don't push them, but drop a resume. Just have a good conversation with them. There is a good chance, there's a good probability one of them is going to turn up and you might get an on-campus job. So
it's just about building the reputation and relation.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, coming from a country like India, we believe more in transparency, so we don't believe in very much soft skills, and that's completely okay. It's just when we are over here, we need to have that rapport. We need to build this skill set to survive over here. And it will help you at every field, in every other departments as well. So yeah, first thing first, just come over here, ease into the role, talk with the dining staff, because maximum vacancies are always going to be over there. And on the plus side, you get free food. So hey, I love that.
So we have come almost to the end of our talk. What would you say, how was your 2 years of experience at UTD in just brief?
Pretty wild, I would say. I grew as a person. I saw many pressures and it's not just me. I talk about everyone else. We see a lot of challenges, but that's the most important thing in life, is to take those challenges. And most of the people in my batch, they all succeeded. Everybody did great. Why UTD is also a great school is the competition you have with your peers is going to only rise you up. Most colleges, even like Purdue, they are pretty good in coursework and reputation, but they don't have that level of challenge. In our batch, every batch, you are going to see a lot of competition, and it's just going to make you better. So always maintain the work-life balance, stay grounded to your roots, and keep on networking with people. Some things are going to get turned up for you. Do not lose that hope. One great tip is it's only going to take one phone call, one internship to turn your career around. So just keep on applying. Do not get disheartened. If you reach out to me on LinkedIn and I'll help you gain that momentum again. So I would say best of luck for everyone. And if you can, definitely take up on this journey. It's going to be really good.
Wow, thank you so much. So with that, we have come to the end of the 4th episode of iimtalk. Romit, I must say that your answers were really very informative. I'm sure that it will help many students who have just joined UTD or are planning to join in the future for Masters in Supply Chain Management. Thank you once again for doing this.
Yeah, thank you so much for having this, Pranav. Hopefully someone gets any idea, and if they like, they should definitely join supply chain or any other field in general. And if anyone has any doubt, please reach out to me on LinkedIn. My name would be Romit Gandhi, and I'll be more than happy to help you all. Have a great day, everyone.
So, hey there, everyone. If you like this video, please leave a like and your thoughts on the video in the comments below. I would love to read them all. And if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. It really motivates me to work harder for the family which is growing every day. Don't forget to press the bell icon also so that you don't miss out on any update. This is Pranav G and Romit signing off. Bye-bye.